Coming home to a garden that looks like a jungle. A lot of summer harvests. A look at how people do gardening around the world. And a lot more in today's episode of California Gardening. So let's first look at the garden tour. When I came back from my vacation this month, what I saw in my backyard was a jungle. The temperature was just perfect for all these plants to grow very well, and with the drip irrigation system in place, they were getting enough water. And here you can see that there's no space to even step inside the garden. And it has been explosive growth, a lot of tomatoes in the garden, a lot of summer vegetables. I'll soon show you the harvest for these vegetables. But this also goes to show that for the gardeners that are wondering how much maintenance is needed in a garden, even if you leave your garden for a month and make sure that it has water and nutrients, you really don't have to care much for your plants. They will still grow and they will still produce a lot of fruits and vegetables in your garden. And here you can see the most explosive growth has been in the tomato plants, and without any pruning, without any training, they've just taken over the garden. And the onion bulbs have grown in size and they are pretty much ready for harvest now. So we will be harvesting a few vegetables. And the chilies are also growing very well. Some of these varieties were some that I didn't even know which varieties they were. And you can see the grapes here. The grape plant has also exploded in growth. A lot of grapes that are hanging from the vine in this grape tree. So it's an absolute delight to watch this. Now when you come back from vacation, you usually go and do your groceries first so that you can have something to eat at home. But I was able to step into my backyard, get some delicious tomatoes. As you can see here, a lot of vine ripened red tomatoes. These are the cherry tomatoes that are growing. And I was able to harvest a lot of tomatoes. Now some of these onions were not completely ready, but we still needed some to do our cooking, and instead of going to the grocery store, we just harvested a couple from our backyard, and that really helped us. So this is what the joy of having a garden is. You can harvest veggies right in your backyard. And we also harvested some purple peppers. If you've not tried growing them, please do try them out. They're very healthy, very delicious peppers that you can easily grow in your backyard. And with just a few harvests, we had enough to cook for at least a few days. These are the mammoth jalapeno peppers and they've grown very well. And followed by the bell peppers. As you can see here, a lot of bell peppers. This is the Jupiter bell pepper variety which we were trying, and it has grown really well. And most of the other bell peppers also grew very well this season. And this gourd plant that actually came in from the compost pile has actually produced a pumpkin. It looks like a pumpkin to me, more like the Asian or the Korean pumpkin. But we'll find out once we harvest the pumpkin. And the eggplants also grew very well, just like other summer vegetables. They grew very well in size, and we are harvesting a few here. So all in all, the summer vegetables were a joy to harvest from the backyard. And we were able to put them to good use right away. This is the other chili pepper variety. This is the red chili. Chili red, it says on the label. And these look more like the Thai peppers, but a little larger variety of the Thai peppers. But they were medium hot. They were pretty hot, so good pepper to eat. The perennial basil plants were flowering like crazy, and a lot of gardeners say that this is a good indicator of the season, and the fact that this has so many flowers means that the weather is just perfect for the summer plants. We were also able to harvest some amaranth. The amaranth plants were growing sporadically around the backyard, and I didn't really plant the amaranth greens this time. They were just seeds left over from last season that produced these lovely leaves, which we harvested. And as you can see here, beautiful looking amaranth leaves, and amaranth greens are something you should definitely try growing. In the next section, we are going to look at some gardens in India. We are in Dehugaon, which is in the city of Pune, And this is quite a countryside place, and people still have a lot of terrace gardens here. As you can see here, a terrace garden usually means that there is some kind of a concrete structure on which there are raised beds, like you see here. There are some containers as well where people grow plants. So it's either raised beds like these made from concrete on terraces, or containers like you see here. And people also use a lot of grow bags. So that pretty much comprises most of the gardening that's done in places like India, where there's shortage of space for gardening. And although this is a countryside, there is agricultural land here, but it belongs to the farmers. So the common man has to do his gardening on his terrace. So that's how the terrace garden looks like. There's a lot of space to walk around, and these are some grow bags, as you can see here. So this is pretty much how most of the gardens look like. Now, India being a tropical place, you can see a lot of trees like the Moringa tree, which is a tropical plant, and it flourishes and grows very well in places like India. And once again, this is the western part of India, which is still relatively cool, but the weather stays pretty warm around the year. This, what you see here, is a jackfruit tree, one of the most exotic fruits and delicious fruits that I've eaten. You can see some birds that have made nests on this tree, and they look absolutely beautiful. The nests are as beautiful as the birds themselves, and they're very high up, the nests. And the tree grows pretty large and produces these jackfruits that you can see here. They are almost ready for harvest now. As you can see here, they produce these large and very heavy fruits, and they are a delight to eat as well. Back to the terrace garden, you can see a close-up of the nest that the birds have made, and they look beautiful. And it's really a artwork of building these nests that the birds do. And one more thing that I really found fascinating were tropical plants like jasmine. There are just so many varieties of jasmine that I saw here. I was very amazed. Very fragrant flowers that produce abundantly. And this is another tropical plant. This is the piper beetle, or the beetle leaf, a very popular medicinal plant. The leaves are chewed and they are used in medicine since ancient history. And that's another tropical plant that grows very well in places like India, where there's hot and humid conditions around the year. And some more jasmine varieties, as I mentioned. This is a beautiful jasmine, very, very fragrant. And by looking at all the jasmine varieties, I was really tempted to grow some more. The soil as well is very nice and rich and almost red in color. And that gives a lot of nutrients in the soil to grow some beautiful plants. People grow a lot of other tropical trees as well, like the papaya tree. A lot of people do have small gardens in India, at least in this place Pune, where I stayed for some time. And here you can see the papaya tree, and this is producing a lot of fruits as well. And a lot of gardening in India is done in a very sustainable way. These are some peanut plants, peanuts that are growing, and some flowers as well. Very sustainable by using things like manure, compost, and not a lot of artificial ingredients. There are a lot of nurseries, plant nurseries in India, and in this place, which is Pune, we found a lot of nurseries in this particular area. You can see here again a lot of jasmine varieties, and most nurseries have a lot of tropical plants. This is another beautiful tropical flower, a yellow colored fragrant flower. And there are so many varieties that I really don't know the names of all these varieties, and neither do the nurseries provide them. They know the local name. For example, this is a flower called Juhi. It's a very fragrant jasmine, and there are some other jasmine varieties as well. Abundance of flowers, beautiful white jasmine flowers. And the nurseries have a lot of plants that are on sale. There are some tropical fruits like the mango plant here, the mango tree, pomegranate tree, and guavas, figs as well. Figs are another plant that grow well in the tropical and subtropical climate. And pomegranates, here you can see beautiful looking flowers on these pomegranates. And curry leaves, of course, very heavily used in India. Curry leaf is one of the most popular plants, and the nurseries do sell a lot of curry leaf plants. As you can see here, they are abundantly available. And roses are another plant that a lot of people love planting in India. So the nurseries here, you can see a lot of rose plants, a lot of different varieties, and they have mastered the art of growing roses here. And the Piper beetle plant again, another beautiful climbing and winding plant, looks very beautiful. And about sustainability, you can see here the manure, it's in a heap here. And I also saw one nursery that had a lot of vegetable plants that were available for purchase, that you could purchase and plant in your home garden. And all they use is coconut coir. That's all they use to grow their veggies. They don't use any fertilizers, they don't use any nutrients or any kind of potting soil. It's just a lot of cocoa coir, and the plants grow very well in that. We also saw a lot of hyacinth beans. The hyacinth bean plants are something I covered in my previous videos as well. And we also did visit a soybean farm. Here you can see the crows are very excited because the grubs are coming out once the tractor is plowing the fields. And the kids had a lot of fun riding on the tractor. It was a very unique experience and we really enjoyed it a lot. From Pune, our next stop was New Delhi, which is the capital of India. And I saw some gardens here. New Delhi is a very hot and very humid place, and there's a little scarcity of water sometimes. The water doesn't come in all day. So you can see some dry places here in New Delhi, but people do garden a lot here as well. And you can see the neem tree here. The neem tree is a very popular medicinal plant that is grown in this part of the world, and it's said to purify the air as well. And it's growing very well, producing seeds, and a lot of this is edible. And moving on to the other parts of the garden, you can see that the raised beds or the recessed beds have been made. It's actually partitioned into some recessed beds with some space to walk around the beds. And this is how it looks like after a rain. We also stopped at the state of Punjab, which is a state with a lot of fields, a lot of countryside areas, beautiful places. And what we saw here was nothing short of a spectacle. This is a curry leaf jungle. I mean, there are hills and hills of curry leaf plants here that have grown naturally. And just the fact that curry leaves are native to South India, this should give you an idea of how incredible this spectacle is. We then moved on to visit Himachal and to places like Dharamshala, which is home to the Dalai Lama. And we saw a lot of monasteries here. This is one of the Tibetan monasteries, and we saw some incredible plants that actually look like ginger plants. And although I'm not really sure, but if this is ginger, it looks like a very different variety of ginger. If not, it's at least a plant that's close to the ginger plant family. But anyway, it was a very beautiful place to visit, a very serene place, and we saw a lot of good things. It was very relaxing, and overall a very nice trip. So there we have it, folks. That was our episode on the California garden in the month of June, plus a lot of other experiences from our vacation that we took last month. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you again soon. Happy gardening.